And so the pendulum swings the other way. A few months ago, my friend Muzzy asked me to make a list of my top 20 worst MCU costumes, and I begrudgingly said yes, and then the video performed really well. But I'm not totally content just leaving it at that, and I want to contribute some positivity to balance things out. It's easy to pick on the worst MCU costumes because there's a lot of pretty terrible ones, but we challenged ourselves to pick MCU costumes we liked. While the MCU is often derided for its wardrobe decisions, rightfully so, sometimes they get it right, and sometimes they get it really right. Maybe the costume feels like a one-to-one real-life version of something only conceived in the funny pages, or maybe it takes a bold new direction that's better than the source material. Some costumes are detailed and elevated from the original drawings, and some just remember to keep it simple, stupid.
What'd you say to me for?
So let's take a look at every time the broken clock was right in the top 20 best MCU costumes. And this time, Muzzy helped compile the list too, so there's a little bit more back and forth instead of me making another completely baffling choice and then having to defend it. A reminder for those confused by the ordering in the first video, both of these lists aren't adhering strictly to a linear system because I think it's hard to quantify a lot of my opinions with an arbitrary number. Try to think of it more like ones at the top of each list I don't feel that strongly about, and ones near the bottom of the list I have more concrete and specific feelings about. The number is more of just a general vibe than a hard system. Are we all on the same page? Okay, let's count them down! Half the fun of superhero characters are their constant changes of wardrobe, and thanks to today's sponsor, Marvel Strike Force, you can play to unlock Spidey's newest movie costume in-game. In honor of Marvel Studios' Spider-Man Brand New Day, you can skip the grind and instantly add Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk for free to your squad using the promo code SPIDEY. Marvel Strike Force is a free mobile squad RPG that allows you to battle with your favorite team of superheroes and supervillains in a fight to save the universe against threats like Doctor Doom and Apocalypse. I've been playing it and unlocking even more heroes since it's gotten easier to level up now that I've progressed so much. And look, I even finally got Moon Knight. Making in-game purchases for gold orbs and power cores can help you level up even faster to recruit the characters you love, and it was worth it to watch my favorite Marvel characters all teamed up together. Now I've got my guy Spider-Man 2099 on the squad. Costume should be a different color, but it's okay. Jump into the live Webs Assemble Spider-Man event. This is a 4-week-long event with new game modes, costumes and content, the Spider-Man Tower and Saga, and the new legendary Scorpion Breaker character with new game modes to unlock. Download Marvel Strike Force using my link or QR code and use the code SPIDEY to get Spider-Man, Hulk, and more rewards for free to build a stronger squad from day one. Whether you're excited for Brand New Day or just want to smash through your enemies, now's the perfect time to start playing Marvel Strike Force. You won't want to miss this limited time event. I'll see you there. Number 20.
It wasn't me! It wasn't me!
Is Black Captain America, but not the actual Black Captain America. It's
Dude!
He's a white Captain America, but he has a black costume.
Alright, you justified it enough. I had what you said in the first place. Now you dug yourself into a hole. Thank you. I know. What the fuck is this doing on here?
Why this one?
Why this one? I'm gonna be honest. And we'll talk about it later with another choice you have on here. I can't really figure out what my favorite of the Captain America MCU suits are.
They all hover around the same kind of general aesthetic, and they all have like pros and cons to them.
They all kind of have to adhere to the Ultimates.
Everyone has to have the Brian Hitch helmet look instead of it being a cowl.
And whether or not you want to be subjective on whether or not Brian Hitch is a good artist or what he made was valid enough to be a recreation of the 616 universe, that's its own argument. There's not really room to implement certain elements that could speak to like what if Cap had a one-piece suit. You kind of had that with the 2012 First Avengers suit.
And we talked about why that one, it was ill-fitting, the material looked too soft, the helmet didn't look good connected to the rest of it. It didn't work.
So with this one, and you gotta try to understand where I'm coming from here, X. I think it's a good evolution and a good middle ground of what that might look like. There's elements in it that you can see from the tactical approach. All the MCU suits are like this, where they have the layers.
Yeah, they all have the vest, and the vest is a separate piece from the arms and the pants, so that there's no pulling or unflattering tugging on fabric. That's the same way that the more recent Daredevil suits are made. That's the same way that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine suit was constructed.
There's places where it works. There's places where it doesn't. But here, with that template of costume that the MC uses, along with that aesthetic of wanting to be a soldier, here that is implemented, I feel the best in just mostly the torso, top half area in general. And I feel like the boots as well are a big upgrade, which I know it doesn't really seem like it. I'm pretty sure all of the suits past Winter Soldier do some form of tactical surplus boot with Captain America. That's another choice I'm kind of partial to. But like here you have like a solid, it's mostly leather, but it's just like a solid like one piece looking boot as opposed to having to be a military surplus attached.
Like a segmented Ezra Miller Flash yellow boot where it's like 15 pieces for no reason.
Yeah, that's more understandable. But here I like how it's just one solid piece.
It's a lot of the same stuff we've already seen before with Captain America suits, but just executed particularly well on this one. It's not distracting, it's not over the top. They got it right. It's like the perfect middle ground of going way too far with Captain America suits or making them way too simplified like the 2012 one. This one is just like the platonic ideal of Captain America suits, and it's not even on Captain America.
It could be romantic if you wanted to.
What else? Oh, high school state football champs. Back to back to back. Go Bears.
Oh, wow.
Number 19. All right, so this one's gonna shock some people.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
We all know how I feel about the show, but like I like this costume. It's nice to see an MCU costume swing a whole different direction away from tactical padding and like Dark Knight style armor plating. Like he doesn't look like a white truck tire covered in all these different panels and armor segments on top of his abs and chest. They went for a way different aesthetic that makes him very unique. He stands out on his own. They really hammered home the whole Egyptian thing by making his whole costume out of bandages.
They still put the shape in there though.
I know they put the shape in there. they put the shape on all of them. Like there's a lot of reasons to hate the show. They just didn't get it right. Tone's too light. They skipped the final fight. He's no Moon Knight. Just Poe Dameron with pajamas on. Source material shat upon Egyptian pyramids, not the Amazon. Simple like a Famicom, I'm your grandma's son. Who's your daddy now? Layla El Fayouli is a baddie now. Cartoon hippo comic relief.
Where the fuck
Don't
is this?
beyond
Where
belief.
did this come from?
Moon Knight fans got beef. Deadpool found the thief. Dumbass
talking
Steven
about?
with a V. Stereotype of DID. Don't talk to me about Jake Lockley just trying to mock me. My guy Mark Spector didn't get the respect deserved. Just deflect this turd.
I was like, what
this
the fuck
show.
is he talking about?
But, I think the costume, I can separate the visual identity of the suit.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it? You had a rap? No pun intended, and that was it? I don't even want to talk about this bullshit anymore after that. Okay, no. Okay. I'm gonna pull what you said with Black Panther on this. It's like Moon Knight's costume is a simplistic one where you think like, how am I gonna translate that? There's been attempts to even modernize it with like, it was Bendis' run that basically just pulled from Nolan's Dark Knight suit for that.
It was the run before the Bendis.
Before him?
run,
Okay.
And I don't like the look for it. It even was like a super suit. Like it gave him like enhanced strength, and it had like turbo power suit muscles in it, so he could lift heavy stuff. It was going way too far in the tech direction, which I think is just very obvious and very generic.
Even the concept art, they go really mummy, or they go with like a kind of techie. I forget what the artist is. He's done a whole bunch of covers, so I think this is a good attempt to do that without going too overboard and still making it look good. Even if I probably would have preferred something that was just straight up cloth. Like I think of Ultimate Moon Knight.
Yeah. It's got like a little bit of the tubing that implies separation of fabric panels. Separated throughout it. It has a little bit more armor around like the extremities, but it's still very visibly just that's Moon Knight.
I was gonna say I also like how the Ultimate one kind of emulates his first appearances, where he has, I think it comes off like he's supposed to have white, and the comic book inking and shadowing. The top is probably supposed to be straight up white, but the pants are straight up, like in the midsection, they're black, and on the outside, they're white.
He needs more onks hanging off of him, like that fucking second costume he had from the comics that had the big gold stuff all over it. That's for his second appearance. When they do the season 2, after they recast, I don't think Oscar Isaac wants to be associated with this garbage anymore. But once they do that season 2 where they recast, either that or they go for a full creative overhaul and just go, okay, we're going to do the black and white one from the, Ellison run?
The newest, the not Fist of Khonshu.
Fist of Your Mama.
Let's move on. I'm mad.
Number 18.
Kneel before your queen.
Now I will tell you what I've done for you.
Do you just pick this because she's a goth baddie and she's hot?
Can you not? Slow down.
I don't know. I don't
Slow
know.
down.
Maybe I can't.
I am really trying hard. My body's trying really hard to refrain from saying certain things about Kate Blanchett as Hela in Thor Ragnarok.
Slap this shit up.
Did I get your testicles?
Especially like when they're like her hair is like down and you got the makeup down her face and like she's so tall. She's so tall.
Okay.
Right? Like,
Wait.
X-Men?
right?
We're up here. We're up here. We're up here. I need you to bring it down. It's 2 or 3 levels, maybe even 4. Okay. All right. So let's start with that. All right. She's got the dark makeup on. I love it. Okay. Big reason that this is here. That the only reason really that this is here. Getting that crown on screen. Is it mostly CG? I can't remember.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. Because like in order, it would just not fit on a human being's head in a
It
way
would probably
that
be
probably would work.
fucking heavy.
It'd be too heavy, and like the weight would shift very weirdly because it's so back heavy, I think. So I don't mind doing a CG sort of mask for this, but yeah, getting the headpiece in live action to a degree, going like so full on with, it's got the crazy Jack Kirby horns in every which direction. Because like when you look at enough Jack Kirby designs, you know he loves his crazy helmets, like, going from like Galactus to Orion to this.
That probably went crazy in geometry class, dog. He was probably going fucking nuts. It doesn't carry over his design in her bodysuit, but I think it does a good job.
Which is unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate, but I think keeping it limited to whatever aesthetic it wanted to pull from with these shapes, still keeping it limited to that in the bodysuit and staying limited to the bodysuit in general, because I don't know what alternative there really would have been for like a live action Hela. They could have gone with the ultimate Hela, which wouldn't have
I
gone.
don't even remember what that looks like.
Look it up real quick.
Okay, hold on. Ultimate Marvel Hela. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Wow. I think if they just put a little bit more green in that costume, it would have like really put her over the edge. Like
She starts off with it black.
It's doing that villain thing in the MCU where every villain's costume has to be pretty monochromatic so that you take them more seriously. But I think it wouldn't have hurt to just have a little bit more color.
I think it's a cool little look. That's why, it's low on the list. So.
Want to see what true power really looks like?
Number 17.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Wow. Mysterio actually looks like Mysterio. I mean, sure, the whole chest plate is doing a lot, but I just gotta give it to him is that they committed to that fucking helmet. I don't think they made a single joke about it in the whole movie either. Like, even Spider-Man making a joke about it is pretty customary in most adaptations.
Wait, how would you eat a mint through that fishbowl?
But he just accepted it. He's got like the weird Sphinx eye symbol things on the clasps of his cape. He's got the boxy gauntlets. He's got the square grid pattern on his costume, even though they went a little bit overboard with it. It was even cooler to me that they also showed that this costume technically is not even being worn by him most of the time, and he's wearing a mocap suit, but they actually incorporated Mysterio design elements into a motion capture suit. That's funny and clever, is that he's wearing a mocap suit, and he's, relying so heavily on visual effects to sell his whole bullshit.
I want to really go back to the concept art because, like I said with Centuries 1, with all the attempts we had to try and make it as militaristic or as grounded as possible, with Mysterio, from one even being a Hulkbuster to another being like the standard, like, oh, this magic character has to wear a huge coat like they tried to do with Doctor Strange. It's wild that we ended up with something so accurate to the source material. I do think like the chest plate is the biggest thing that takes it down for me. That's why when you put it on her, I was like, what the fuck? Like you talked about the color blocking, it's this big fucking gold piece that is just kind of overbearing to the overall design, because there even is some little bits of purple, mahogany, fucking red, whatever the fuck. I can see where you want to go towards one than making it straight up purple, because sometimes he does come off as having a purplish red cape in older stuff and in most iterations and renderings of the character.
Like the Spider-Man 2 video game version of him, I think that version of his cape skews way more towards like a reddish purple. That had its own aesthetic where he was trying to look more like an alien and had like more of like a Mars Attacks kind of thing going on.
On screen is the one where people look forward to like validate the character, right? For some reason.
Yeah.
Like if it's going to be the first on-screen appearance and this is what we're getting, and the only real big problem I have is that it has a gold vest on it. If that's the only complaint I have, I'm really
pretty
fine.
good.
Yeah.
Considering like the track record of so many other characters.
I don't even really have a problem with the overabundance of the pattern and like the texture being in between the grid pattern on his costume. That feels like a choice where it's like I probably would have seen them doing that regardless, and I feel like it would have been even more of it. Like that's the thing about the vest, it's like on one hand, yeah, even if I don't like it, could I have seen that being a detriment to it if it wasn't there, and the texture problem being the overwhelming aspect that isn't liked by the majority, even if it is mostly accurate. Even if I may not like certain choices about certain costumes, that's one where it's like, okay, I can understand why they did this, as opposed to some other ones with certain choices.
Somebody get this stupid costume off me!
Number 16.
How long have you been at Kamatage, Mr.
Doctor.
Mr. Doctor?
It's strange.
Maybe.
All right, Dr. Strange.
Oh man, I didn't really come to back this one up, huh?
Yeah, okay, you added this one, and I was like, okay, I feel like if he put this one on here, he's gonna have something really, really to say about it, because I don't have strong feelings either way towards this costume.
Xavier, I told you.
Or did you just put this here so we could get to the number 20?
What
even is Doctor Strange's logo? It's just like a big T? What is it?
Oh, I have no. You asking the wrong guy. Even though I like how it looks, I've never known what the f it's supposed to be or what it's supposed to signify. I haven't read enough Doctor Strange. I got to get into the Masterworks like you did.
Do you remember for like 5 minutes when they put yellow gloves on him? And like then they just were like, nah, we're not feeling that.
Yeah, they did it for the sillier movie, and then they were like, I don't really want to. We got to change this guy, don't we?
We were supposed to have this locked like 2 days ago.
No.
we were still fucking shuffling things around 10 minutes before we were recording.
I don't know.
Because we had such a hard time finding costumes we actually liked.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Are we seriously just skipping a whole number?
No. I was gonna. Only were the other.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just.
No. We don't gotta do that. We don't gotta do that. We don't gotta do that. We don't gotta do all that. You want to put Thanos on here?
Which Thanos? Because he's had a couple.
20 Guardians of the Galaxy full reveal Thanos.
Oh yeah. Number 16.
But return to me again empty-handed, and I will bathe the starways in your blood.
Time to load the clip, then we take them to war.
Thanos' look circa Guardians of the Galaxy and like the Avengers Age of Ultron post-credit scene is really cool. That's him in real life. That's like a 1-to-1 Jim Starlin Thanos kind of look. And then for some reason in his actual starring roles in Infinity War and Endgame, he was not wearing that suit either time, even in flashbacks. And so I was kind of baffled by that.
Which is such like a, what the, like...
Because, like, that movie is more about him as, like, a narrative. Like, it's like his movie, where he's sort of the protagonist of it, and everyone else is the opposition that he faces. And so I think they wanted to make him look like more of an underdog, where he's run around, like, packing up the entire Avengers in a tank top and pants. Like, he just looks like he just, like, got out of bed, and he's kicking the shit out of the
That's what I was about to
Man.
say. If he's gonna be the motherfucking dad, he got the wife beater and just, like, the pajama pants on, and he kicking his ass with a glove just because he found a glove?
I mean, that really sells the strength of him. It doesn't seem like he's, like, badass because he's got the armor. He's badass because he's just badass. Like, it's just pure muscle punching everyone in the face. He's got big biceps that are purple.
I'm pretty sure that was justification by the Russo brothers of, like, why they stripped him down of the armor. Like, even then, it's like, why not? Again, I feel like...
But then when they put the armor back on him, it's weird because it's not the armor we've seen him wearing before. It's a whole different one. And it's like, I don't know, I don't like the shape of the helmet. It looks more like a bike helmet where it's really slicked backwards to a point.
It feels like it needs to fucking overcompensate because, like, that one takes out the sleeves because that's a badass look, quote unquote, taking it more seriously as opposed to the original costume. But it's like,
I don't know. I took him seriously perfectly fine in the first couple of times I saw him. Like, I mean, there was a joke where it was like Thanos just sits in his chair and he doesn't do anything, but I thought he looked great. I love the design.
That wasn't him. That was the stunt actor. He's been in a whole bunch of stunt roles. I forget what his name is, but yeah, the original actor had a different. I'm pretty sure it was a different suit.
Well, yeah, his that was before they cast Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
So like his face wasn't even completely locked in yet. So yeah, I don't know. I like Thanos in the MCU. I mean, I know they kind of whiffed it on the whole motivation thing about him trying to impress Death, because then they introduced that character 5 years later in a Disney Plus show that everyone forgot about instantly.
Think I'm watching anything with that old hag?
Number 15.
You get hurt, hurt him back. You get killed, walk it off.
Hey, so the Age of Ultron Captain America costume, I think, of all the Captain America costumes, is the one I had to put on here just for the sake of color balance. It is the only one that has white on the sleeves, and I feel like a lot of Captain America costumes in the MCU skew way too blue. They're way too blue. There's not enough red and white on them to really sell the Captain America look. He just feels like a blue guy with a star on him. And this is starting to sound like Sonic arm color discourse. But I just think breaking up the colors a little bit more with some white on his sleeves helps a lot to make Captain America not look visually boring. It has always been very confusing to me that Captain America has this extremely unique texture to his costume with the fish scale chainmail look, and they've never really tried to use that until, what was it, Endgame, when they finally started trying to incorporate that.
You could have got around the chainmail for years, the same way the Marvel Now costume did. And I know that that's a point of contention in Captain America's designs, because it goes so far, again, towards the tactical look. But if you really, really didn't want to do chainmail and scales, you had a hexagon pattern right there to be like a happy medium.
Like, how did we get a scaly Superman suit before we got scales on Captain America?
You talking about the Man of Steel suit?
Yeah.
And yeah, like, why not just go with the sake of texture and patterns and have that be something that, like, maybe it's like not a silk screen printed like the Raimi. It's screen printed.
Spider-Man's costume his costume is actually just spandex, but it's screen printed so many different layers that it like doesn't even look like the initial white fabric. Or actually, I think it was pink fabric because that would accept the red dye better. I think that should just kind of be the standard. I don't think costumes for superheroes need to have lines upon lines upon lines and patterns. And I mean, fuck me, even the Superman Returns suit doing that silly shit where there's a Superman logo on every single solitary inch of that costume. That's fine, because like that just, that's something for the light to catch. It looks nice on camera. I wish that we had went more to that school of design for superhero costumes over the last 15 years.
I don't necessarily mind, because that's why I'm surprised that you picked this one out of all of them. I expected you to go for the in-game suit because of the scales.
It's like like it's the one that has the most sensible color blocking. Even then, it's always been weird to me how like the boots and the gloves are still kind of more brown than they are red. Like there's not a lot of red.
Like maybe going for more of the leather burgundy that the first Avengers did. I mean, that was still brown, but sometimes some renderings come off as burgundy or like maroon. This one just puts a patch of red in the middle of the gloves and has like the trim on the gaiters that he wears, which I think is a cool choice. Kind of World War II, World War I soldier design element if you want to go with modernizing that. Like the gaiters over the boots, I think that's cool. Maybe a slightly different red. I like the color red that they have on the Age of Ultron suit. I like how vibrant it is because it looks more purple going forward with the rest of the costumes. Maybe like a deeper red contrasting that. Something like that could definitely be a good way to still have the red but not have it be so vibrant if you don't want that to be something that's distracting in the costume design.
Just slipped out.
Number 14.
That might be one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me, but don't ever do that again.
Yeah, Far From Home Spider-Man with the black on the costume and the black and red. I like black and red. It's my favorite color scheme. I think it's cool how every major Spider-Man has kind of black and red at some point in their history of costumes. Whether people want to argue with me about it or not, fuck you. I like the texturing on the black parts. I like that there's a little bit more like Miles influence on this one. Like the gloves are pretty much just Miles' costume gloves. I don't care for the white logo on the back. I think that was a misstep. I know it's really crazy that I like this one considering how fucking bad they butchered his sleeves. This is the least amount of sleeves Spider-Man has ever had. He doesn't even have gloves. I don't know. Somehow it just is one of those things where it's like it's better than the sum of its parts. It comes together and looks real nice on camera.
I mean, yeah, you took the words kind of out of my mouth. No, well, okay, no, because
Remember when he like turned this inside out for no reason? It doesn't amount to anything. Like he just scrubs it off one scene later.
Yeah, so they could have just been like, okay,
that's so weird. He gets paint on his costume, he flips it inside out, and he flips it back the right way, and then the movie continues on. So it's like, what was this weird little diversion? Why did we do this? Like,
see,
from a narrative standpoint,
we can't even stick on being positive for these shits, because we end up just coming back to the reasoning we don't like some of the choices that are made with these.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's not you.
Like, I go out of my way to not do that for videos. Unless it's like something that I really wanted to like and then found out I didn't. Hey, okay, here's a hard truth, okay? If you like the film Pacific Rim Uprising, you are a bad person and I hate you.
All right. Let's slow down.
You suck. You're the worst.
Jesus.
Fuck you. They killed Mako in the fucking first 10 minutes? You don't deserve any happiness in this life. You're uninvited to my fucking birthday party. They're taking like 50 steps and that transfers to like 3 strides with a robot that's the size of a building.
I'm gonna keep this in here.
Black Bolt, huh? Yeah, Black Bolt, huh? Talk about Black Bolt. Number 13.
Okay, no, here's one that I can actually talk about.
I like this one. I really like this one. This is genuinely a cool suit. I know this is a weird one for me because this costume did not exist practically. This is a full CG costume.
You think that would make us hate it more?
You think that would make us hate it more, but I actually love the end result of this. The look of it is just so perfect. Like, that's Black Bolt. I'm glad that they wanted to do right by that actor because they put him in a goddamn trench coat the first time and it looked horrible. It doesn't even have the shape.
Which the bolts kind of, you think like that would make perfect sense to kind of implement the shape, but they didn't subject them to that. They just let them be as is.
Because the lightning bolts do that same kind of thing anyway, where it highlights the anatomy and like gives him that V shape to the torso, so it looks more flattering as a superhero suit. The logo works with the costume. Mm-hmm. It's not fighting against it. I think the mask turned out great because it's tracked to his head so well. Like, I know it's a full CG mask, but it fits his face so well, and they did such a good job with the composite compositing and lighting. Doesn't look like a weird Roger Rabbit thing where it's like floating on top of him. And now I don't know why it's a fully CG costume. I don't know why that happened. I would have thought that a Sam Raimi production would have had the costumes all figured out.
That first reveal of him, I gotta look at it again. It still holds up though. Like then when they first revealed him in the Illuminati room, I thought it was real, and I still think
it.
Shut up, man. Oh yeah, I love. There's a divide in his black sections. There's a little bit of a kind of charcoal kind of look. But in between those, or at least some parts of it, you had this sleek, glossy divide between them. If you're gonna do, I don't think texturing is the ultimate end-all be-all of doing a simplistic costume. If you break it up with certain materials, I feel like that's an opportunity that hasn't been taken with a lot of superhero costumes on screen. I feel could definitely take them up a notch or two. Again, I'm fucking stumped on the example I was thinking of. That's something that I feel like should be done more.
The more monochromatic this character has one singular color, those are the ones that they struggle the most with, and this is the one where I think they pulled it off the best. There's just a lot going on here that's all done right. Like, I don't know what they were on for the 5 minutes when they made this, considering he's standing right next to that fuck-ass Mr. Fantastic costume. Yeah, I Black Bolt, they blew his head up. It sucks. Black Bolt's mouth will return in Avengers Doomsday.
Yay! Yeah! Yes!
Number 12.
Now, are you ready to redeem yourself?
What do you want me to do?
I want you to break into a place and steal some shit.
You know, I did like an Ant-Man cosplay a couple years ago. I think it was more of like the Civil War suit. But of all the Ant-Man costumes, when I really look back through them, because we were talking about the one in Quantumania being a disaster.
Yeah.
It's just way too much going on. I look back at this one, it just works. Like, I like that it has this kind of messiness to it, where it looks like something that a really talented genius scientist made in a lab in the 70s, where it has all this piping and wires hanging out, and like the gadgets don't necessarily gel perfectly with the suit, they're just kind of hanging off of it. I like what they did, like, in terms of just taking Ant-Man's look and going, how do we make that look cool? Because I don't necessarily like his original... Oh, what? Oh, hold on. Classic Ant-Man is a hard look to pull off, you know, with like the blue gloves and boots and the helmet. Because it's not really a cool helmet. As a guy who really loves helmets, I don't think Ant-Man's first generation helmet really looked all that badass.
The Ultimate's rendition of his classic helmet, I think, does a good job of modernizing it while still staying true to like that original silhouette and shape.
The only context he wears that in is such a traumatizing scene.
No.
You shouldn't have made me feel small, Jan.
No, he wears it in Ultimates too as well, when he potentially messes with the Miner. But, you know...
Jesus fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Hey, for anybody that thought we talked too little in the last one, we had 4 hours of commentary, and there's a lot of stuff that ended up getting cut out. And I talked about fan designs. I like how they're starting to take influence from Kamen Rider.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in this, and that's really cool. I like that it looks like a motorcycle suit. I like that he's kind of Kamen Rider-y. Even though I'm not really into that stuff, I dig the aesthetic as like an outside observer, and so I don't mind seeing a little bit of that kind of bleeding into my superhero stuff.
There's a lot of Tatsunaku fans in your audience, apparently. I like any redesign taking influence from a whole bunch of different shit that's not just adjacent to what the original source is. I think your statement about it looking like motorcycle leather will seem contradictory. Like you said, it harkens back to that old like kind of sci-fi look of like these this ribbing and stuff, which is kind of Ultimates inspired as well, if you ask me. And I didn't initially like how the helmet was closed off.
This is the funny thing, is that a lot of action figures based on Marvel stuff need to go in production before sometimes the designs are even finalized.
Right, the Marvel Legend.
Every Marvel Legend action figure of this exact costume has the open face because it's based on an earlier draft from the concept art. I don't think they still have actually made an action figure that looks properly like like this suit yet. If I had to choose, I do like the closed faceplate on this version better. It's its own contained environment that keeps the wearer kind of separated from the outside world. So it's like the suit shrinks and the person inside just goes with it. It's kind of weird and conceptually interesting to me. There's like a little bit more sci-fi put into it than just, oh, he gets big and small.
If you want to talk about Sentai, like, audiences have been watching, or were already kind of used to the shrinking and the growing with Johnny Sokko and Ultraman. You know, that's not concept that's new or too out there. You don't really have to sell that.
Because that's like more like the way they took like not Dan Garrett, who's the second one? Ted, yes, they did. That was how they handled Ted Kord Blue Beetle in the new Blue Beetle movie, is they portrayed him with that kind of vibe. But yeah, you know, Ant-Man's fun. He shrinks and he goes in your butthole and he tears you in half.
Oh.
Number 11.
Je pense qu'il a l'air mort. Je peux être contact. Regarde.
I know that every kind of stagnant Captain America design choice in the MCU kind of starts with this one, but I've always been a fan of it. And I think that's because of how sleek it is. First off, taking the director Rogers design.
Yeah, that's that Secret Avengers costume where he was like pretending to still be dead Captain America, but he was running around like doing secret missions with Moon Knight for some reason. You know, when that was designed, it already looked like an MCU Captain America costume before that aesthetic was even thoroughly established.
I talked about lacking context of certain comic arcs when adapting certain suits. You got into that with Mr. Knight and Moon Knight.
Well, because, you know, it's a recognizable look. People know that alternate costume.
Yeah.
People have seen it before. It's just brand recognizability as opposed to worrying about the character context of that suit. I mean, even then, he's going on a stealth mission. He's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. It works, you know, it works well enough. It's just interesting that they took that and then they just were like, hey, let's just put a helmet on it. It's like the only thing it doesn't have.
And it works surprisingly with even more with the helmet, I feel like.
I wouldn't have it be like the main Captain America suit.
Nah.
Because it works for the stealth function. They did a really surprisingly good job just faithfully just like, yeah, here it is. This is how it's drawn. And it's just weird how infrequent that kind of is.
Now that you say it though, like I'm wondering if they really wanted to go with like grounded stuff like forever, and they went with this as they took that costume and were like, okay, that's the one we're gonna go with. That's the least silly one.
I would have problems with that if it extended beyond just like, you know, the context they used it in. If they're like, okay, he's gonna be standing next to the rest of the Avengers wearing this. I'd be like, but he's too blue. He's too blue.
If I could imagine it, I could see like them going with like a straight up Ultimate Iron Man look and like sticking with the Edward Norton Hulk, sticking with the Ultimates inspired Hawkeye. Black Widow has always kind of been that, so it's like that's not really that much of a difference.
Like an alternate universe where we like doubled down even harder on realistic Avengers, so they looked even less fun. I'm not happy with what we got, but at least it's not that. There's like a worst case scenario that we thankfully have not achieved. I do like the idea of like the shield like is completely indestructible, but the paint scratches off of it rather easy, so they will just like repaint it a couple different times.
Yeah. They went with just kind of stripping the red paint away and having it be like a lighter blue, which I think also looks sick with that baby sky blue. And even like the foundation of the segmented, not really stripes coming up here, I feel like it works for this costume because it's supposed to be base level of what Captain America's suit is, but stripped of its color for the sake of the mission.
This is like X-Force Captain America.
Yeah, it's like government issued, so it's like that. It makes sense. I also like the little touches, like the flag on the uniform coming off of the stripe, coming from the center, and it having his designation name on there. But like, yeah, I think this is like just a sleek ass look that I've never really gotten tired of, and I was really surprised when they brought it back for Endgame, even just for a little bit. I kind of like his haircut there better, but yeah, I've always liked this look, even if it's not as bombastic as the rest of his costume is supposed to be.
Number 10. Hold that thought. Can we believe this woman?
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
You know what's funny is I haven't even seen the Marvels. I've heard it's good. I don't know. I'm just not too interested in it. I was at the very least really taken with how simple this is. This is the most simple MCU costume I think they've ever done in terms of just overall design complexity. It just looks like classic Captain Marvel. I don't know where this costume came from or why or how. It's just, yeah.
I did watch the Marvels, and I forget like why this Seeing Planet gave them these new uniforms. I don't know how they ended up with this one being what it is.
It's just the Marvel suit, right? Like what the first guy wore, the guy who died of cancer. That's just his costume.
The Warbird, not the Warbird suit, but no, that's binary. Yeah, it's the Warbird suit. Did she get that one before the Miss Marvel look as we know it? I think so. Yeah. Because she takes up that mantle of Marvel, like you're saying. Earth's Mightiest Heroes did a good in between of those. Because Captain Marvel, when she first came out, she was such a lauded version of this reinvention of the character. From the jump, I knew if they were going to introduce Carol Danvers into it, they were going to do Captain Marvel.
Carol Danvers is an interesting case because I really feel like that's one of those legacy characters that has so far exceeded the popularity of the original that there's no chance that they're going to bring back the first one. She's gotten into like Hal Jordan Green Lantern territory where people don't even know that there was a Green Lantern before that. Actually, Barry Allen territory, where it's just like that character has so thoroughly solidified as the main pop culture version of that character. Like, I could see us coming back to Hank Pym at some point, but I don't think Marvel is going to get any play in adaptations for a good long time.
That outfit and that mantle even was ever going to be adapted because of her popularity around that time. Her, 3 different fucking suits between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, it was weird. She had so many different costumes that only showed up for one scene. She even had a different suit in that little cameo in the Miss Marvel show. She had that tiny cameo and had a completely different suit even in there that looked pretty good.
To get to this thing is again, as everybody has probably said and maybe run to death, I don't know, is that the colors are the only real problem here because they're so
it's
dull.
So washed out. It's so dark for some reason. I don't know why it's so dark, but that's the only thing really wrong with it is if you bumped the saturation up on this considerably, this would be an all-timer. It's almost so simple it could come across plain looking, but I just think it's bold to just take a step back from all these other suits we've seen and do something this relaxed.
Everybody says, the TASM 2 suit, that's the best on-screen Spider-Man suit we've ever had. But my only real issue with it is that it's a little more maroon in the red, a little more in certain lighting, and the blue's a little too dark too. It looks like he left it in the wash a little longer than he needed to. But if it was more vibrant, I would definitely like it a lot more. And I feel like that's a similar problem with this one. And I like the way bigger logo.
Yeah, a lot of MCU costume logos are pretty unobtrusive. They try to make them very small, so having a logo be this bold and cover up so much of the chest.
Yeah, man. Let's hope she keeps it. Like you said, I'm a fucking insane man forever thinking that.
Number 9.
Surprise! What the hell?
Okay, so there's 2 ways to handle comic book adaptations. Is either make it just the thing from the comic book but in real life, or make it so different and so unique that it's really exciting and fresh and it's its own thing. This is pretty different, right? Look at this. There's not a ton of DNA of the original Vulture, the Ditko Vulture costume, but it also just looks so damn cool. Trying to differentiate him visually from Falcon, they're 2 characters that use a flight suit harness with flapping wings. It's how do you make that different? Falcon, his whole thing is that it's really sleek and very maneuverable. This thing is like a helicopter. They made this thing so massive, and that makes him so much more intimidating too, is the wingspan is like a fucking bus wide.
I'm just thinking about that shot when he's on the billboard.
Oh, yeah. And just the way that the flight suit jacket, the big fluffed out collar looks like the hair on a vulture. That's so cool. That's a nice little clever design choice. That reminds me of the TASM 2 game Shocker costume. It's a new take, complimentary. Even the fact that it has these weird pincer claw grippers on the boots for him to grab stuff is kind of cool. I think only the Spectacular Spider-Man version had something like that before, but this just takes it to a bigger degree. I wouldn't think that putting a helmet on him would work, but also the other thing is that it has such a cool intimidation factor with those piercing red dot eyes.
They're green.
And the kind of...
That thing's green.
Are they green? So the piercing green dot eyes look really intimidating, and then the fact that the respirator on it looks like a beak. There's a lot of throwing stuff at the wall here, but it feels like more calculated instead of just John Malkovich wearing a vest with, like, wings made of knives.
I don't even think it's throwing it at the wall. I think that's because I didn't even think about an actual vulture having the collar of fur. I was just thinking, flight bomber jackets have that in general, and that was a way to translate the fur on his original suit. That just also made sense. Initially, you think that because this is, again, we gotta bring it grounded, we gotta bring it realistic, it would be disappointing. But I think now, like, especially in fan redesigns and stuff, they probably just don't want to make him an old geezer. We can probably shift more towards the Homecoming look and making that his, like, standard. Because even some looks now, I think about the Miles Morales book.
I like, the fact that he, like, scavenged all of the parts of this from various different battle scenes throughout other Marvel movies. Like the idea that this is salvaged alien tech, fits the theme of him being a vulture, and the way that it kind of has like the blue glowy stuff from Chitauri stuff kind of mixed in. I thought it was just a creative way to bring that character in, as opposed to just having him be like, I'm going to build a wingsuit and go steal stuff.
If you're going to have like a one-off modernization of this character that strays so far, this is what I would have wanted to land on as opposed to anything else.
Business is good.
Number 8.
Come out! The Black Panther is ready for you!
So a lot of you were not fans of Black Panther's solo film being on the last list. That wasn't really my choice, so as reparations...
I would have put this one on the list either way, because the whole criticism of the other one is that it's not this one. This one looks so fucking tough from every angle. I love it. It's so cool. I mean, I love the texturing, the paneling. I don't know, something about the pattern on it, the way that all these different textures are laid out. He looks like a fancy vase. Just all this little silver accents kind of blended in just to give it something to break it up, so it's not just a pure black silhouette. Like, it's hard to do a character that just has a solid black cloth costume, and I think they got it so right on their first try. I love how the final result looks. I think this suit looks so cool. I love the mask. He has such an intimidation factor. Like, that mask looks so mean. He just has this fucking scowl sculpted into the eyes. And the way the ears sit, it doesn't look too Batman-y, but it also doesn't look like silly cat ears because it's not folded too far back. And I was so disappointed when they immediately threw this out for a version that looked like rubber poop.
That's crazy that you said it looks like a vase. Not for the sake of, like, I think that's a weird comparison, but thinking in black households, like if you have like a black grandma or whatever, like you can probably, well, if you're black, you probably have a black grandma. But if you think of like certain decor in their houses, I think of like African influenced vases, and they have in the concept art for it. I think Adi Granov might have been the majority when it was him and Ryan Minerding, if that's how you pronounce his name. They had a lot of influence in certain African tribal patterns, and even doing like the markings that Killmonger has on his, which is another good suit. But I feel like there's another one variant of the Black Panther suit that is even better than his. The markings that he has on his suit, they have some of those on the concept art as well, with the regular Black Panther outfit that still has the same. I think also the thing with the solo movie costume that was a problem was his build, and his build in this one and in some of the concept art that's different because it's art, so you can obviously frame them however way you can
embellish the musculature of the actor a little bit more than what the real guy is built like. This suit, he has like broader shoulders and like a more puffed out chest on this one, the way it's layered and the padding inside. And I feel like with the other one, because they went for more of a sculpted like Schumacher muscle approach, he looks a lot more thin, and so I think that also kills some of the superhero badass silhouette for me. I don't know, man. Every time I look at this, it just gets me so hype. I just want to see him drop kick someone. That shot, even from the Solo movie, of the guys out in the woods, and then they just pan the flashlight up and see him wearing this perched in a tree, looks so fucking cool. That was so badass. That is like one of the all-time like best like character reveal moments in MCU history. Is like that's how you show him in the suit for the first time. Yeah. Holy fuck.
And the whole clever, like the dog barking up the tree.
Oh man, I just can't get over the suit. It is like one of my favorite things the MCU has ever done.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool, but
Number 7.
Like father, like son, but not really, because daddy's got the bigger dick on this one.
No, this is cool. This goes hard.
You might just look at it and be like, it's the same suit. Oh, okay, it's just the same suit as the motherfucking regular Black Panther one. They put a pair of pants on him and they put a robe on him. But holy shit, dude!
It's crazy how much aura you get from wearing a regular superhero costume with a normal piece of civilian clothing on top. Like when Cyclops wears a leather jacket on top of his Jim Lee era costume, or like Miles wearing a hoodie on top of his Spider-Man suit. This is a different flavor of that, but still that same genre of just something that scratches an itch in my brain that goes, yeah, that looks cool.
This point along with the ceremonial robe brings it up a notch. My thing is the adding of the gold.
He looks good with gold.
It's like it adds on to the royalty aspect. It's got class. You know, it's a good contrast with black skin because he takes the helmet off in that suit, and that's a good look there. Black Panther with gold is always going to be better for me than anything else. Again, Killmonger's outfit does a little bit more of that, and I feel like there's a little bit of detraction in adding the jaguar or cheetah print on him along with the gold accents, because it kind of becomes overbearing. Even though I feel like that by itself, I don't feel like they should have gave him a Black Panther outfit to begin with. But here, because it's not too overbearing with a certain, like a spray or a wrap, I guess I could call it. Here, it's subtle enough to where it's limited to the accents, and the rest of the costume just being as is. I'm always going to be a fan of that. And also, elementing with the bracelet, that communication bracelet that they have. Even that adding on to it. I don't know, man. It shows up for such a small time, but it left such a big impact. If this was a regular design going forward with T'Challa himself, we wouldn't have no problems.
The next thing we got to figure out going forward with Black Panther costumes is we got to start getting that cape back into play.
Either do a cape or like a cloak or something, man.
Remember when he had a cool jacket for a little while?
Wasn't that dude white though?
I don't know, was he?
That's not a bad, I think we mentioned it last time too. That's not a bad look, but I'm pretty sure that's a white man.
Oh no.
I could be wrong though.
I waited for 3.5 years. White man did it in 1 week.
Number 6. So Iron Man already looks pretty cool. But what if he was like a foot taller and had a chain gun on his shoulder?
Ladies and gentlemen, today I am proud to present Air Force Lieutenant Colonel James Rowe.
What up, yo? Time is running out. It's for real though. Let's connect politics. Ditto.
You know, I love the lineage of the way they explained how the suit came into being. The way they explained it as it was the Mark II suit heavily modified by the US military, and that's why they went so overboard with the guns. That's fun, and I like that makes sense aesthetically for why it's so much more tank-like, and why it also is just so over the top with the amount of weapons as opposed to a typical Iron Man suit. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, if you're going for this pacifist Tony Stark who decides he doesn't want to build guns anymore, it seems a little hypocritical for him to build a suit that has a million fucking guns on it.
I also feel like Iron Man 2's CGI, I like the more kind of muted aspect of some of it. It looks a lot grittier. Everything looks a lot rougher. And I feel like that's to this suit's favor. Because, man, that shot of him coming up at the expo through the floor and being presented with all the hammer drones. Oh, man, that joint looks fucking sick, man.
That fight scene that was storyboarded by Genndy Tartakovsky.
They look so fucking cool together.
There's also just I love the color contrast too. It's just like, you've got the red and gold and you've got the black and silver, and they're peanut butter and chocolate in terms of big robot suits. They are a perfect pairing. I always get super excited when I see Iron Man and War Machine together.
They kind of strayed away from it as the suits went along, but they kind of went back to it, but went overboard once Endgame came around. They do.
Oh yeah, in Endgame, that suit is huge, and you see Don Cheadle's not a very physically imposing guy, so seeing his tiny little body like peeking out, like his little head peeking out of this fucking tank, looks so goofy.
That design, I feel like, kind of is reminiscent of the Ultimate suit, not the one that's featured in Iron Man 2, but like there's one with like a sleek glossy black on the faceplate that doesn't have a mouth. It looks more reminiscent towards that, but I still feel like even in comparison to that design kind of doesn't hold up. Or even you could think of the Armored Adventures look. I still like the War Machine in Armored Adventures though. I kind of like there's some concept art that does a similar thing to that, but I kind of like the lighter color scheme, gray color scheme with that one. There's concept art for Civil War Machine, I'm pretty sure, that has a more matte look for the black and silver. Civil War is a little bit more of a bulky outfit than Age of Ultron one, but doesn't scratch the same itch for me as this one. And then again, they go overboard with Endgame, but this one has always just been so fucking cool to me, man. And it's kind of a perfect translation.
It's just one of those things where the fact that they need to keep iterating on these designs every single movie starts to become a detriment, because sometimes they get the design so right on the first try, and then it's like, how do we upgrade something that's really good already? And then you get this weird thing where you start overdoing it. It's like if you put too many toppings on a sandwich to the point you can't even get your mouth on it anymore, and it's just like, well, I liked it back like 15 versions ago.
I could get my mouth around a sandwich.
Drop it at his I'm like, boom, you looking for this?
Number 5.
Burn 'em. It's me and you, motherfucker. It's me and you. I put trademarks around your fucking eyes.
I don't think you could get any more fucking perfect than Iron Man Mark III. Hot damn. That is... Just look at it. Iron Man in the comics, for me, a lot of my early memories of him tend to be kind of towards the Adi Granov Model 24 kind of stuff. That Model 24 suit that this is so heavily inspired by, they struck a perfect balance with making it recognizable as the character, while also really adding a lot of detail to it to make it like the fancy, like cinematic version, but it also did not go overboard on details. And then there's just the tactile element of it. Is this suit feels so real. It is the most believable piece of equipment in a superhero movie I've ever seen. I feel like I could reach out and touch this suit, because I think they did just build a practical one to have him wearing on set. Having that visual reference point made it so much easier for them to do the CGI model.
I'll say this, Xavier, I do think that you can do better than this, because I feel like the Mark IV, proportionally, I think it does it a little bit better, because both of them are still like believable as men in suits, but again, War Machine has this even more so. But the Mark IV is still a little more broad, riding the line between like having like a broader chest, but then like slimming down at the waist, and then being wider out a little bit at the hips. Stuff like that. I think that works for that armor a lot. But yeah, no, the Mark III was still a very cool first attempt, very cool translation from page to screen with that, but also just like, it's very influential around like a lot.
I mean, this became like the default Iron Man design, basically. Like every Iron Man design for the next 20 years is based on this. And it left this indelible mark in a way that like a lot of superhero costumes and movies really don't. Like the Nolan Batman didn't become like the default Batman, or like Raimi Spider-Man didn't mean that every Spider-Man design had to have silver webs forever. But this just became the most recognizable Iron Man design going forward, that everything feels like it's trying to be kind of a branch off of this starting point now, as opposed to like the comic version of the Mark II.
Kill power.
Number 4.
4 brave astronauts head up into space, encounter a bit of cosmic turbulence, and come back forever changed. Not just the molecules of their bodies, but also their place in our hearts.
I love that we tried something different in terms of materials. Is a lot of MCU costumes tend to be made of the same materials. Just the idea that it is a sweater. It just looks like a sweater, but somehow that just fits the aesthetic of the character so much, and the idea that this version of them exists in a world that is this retrofuturism 60s inspired like Kirby Wonderland. I can't believe this is the first time since the Corman version that we actually just had the big number 4 on their chest. And I also love the idea of the vertical lines making it so Human Torch looks like how he's drawn in Jack Kirby comics when he like flames on. That's a really clever touch. And then I think it was even kind of cool to do this little thing where they personalize them. So it's a uniform, but each one of them looks a little different. Sue's is technically the most comic accurate one, but it still matches the other 3.
Yeah, I was upset. Not upset. Let me not say that. I think it was understandable. But I was like, oh, that's their negative zone outfits. Why are they coming out the gate with these? But also, I remember thinking that these weren't going to be it when that first Valentine's Day poster came out.
Yeah, I was like worried that was just a placeholder.
Because I thought it was just home attire since they were sweaters. But then getting closer to actual reveals, I was surprised to see it carried over. And I think, though, at first it is something that kind of catches you off guard. It's something that I definitely like. Right? It's homey.
It's a very cozy uniform. They spend a big portion of the movie just wearing these casually around. They don't have to do like a suit up scene because the uniform is just so functional and practical as a regular piece of clothing that they can just wear it in regular scenes where the characters are just interacting and having dialogue and being people. It's not just you only put it on for the fight scenes and then immediately go back to wearing a t-shirt.
I would have liked like a little diagram breakdown if they were going to go into such like Silver Age aesthetics. I wanted to do that with like, you know, the pinups in the back of the books showing, say, Spider-Man's costume or how Johnny Storm's flame goes off and Mr. Fantastic's costume. I kind of would have liked to see that if they were going to do like the little show that Reed Richards has. I would have liked to see like, you know, they have like their communicators and whatever their belts, what the function on their belts are. I would definitely would have liked to see that.
Yeah, I like how they have like this kind of like Hammond Spider-Man utility belt thing going on too, because normally that's just a white band that doesn't really serve any function, so putting like gadgets and making it look more functional was a fun idea too. I don't know what any of the stuff on that belt does, but it looks like it does something.
I also like how the version of the blue that they decided to pick, it was a little too dark. It was the right like kind of idea with the 2005 uniforms, but they were a little too dark sometimes, at least in the first one. Even though it's not like that more deeper shade of blue that I prefer with the costumes, I do like that what they decided to finalize with them. And I really like it on the boot. I really like the boots. For some reason, I think it works even better on there.
It's just been so long since we've seen superhero boots that just look like that. Like it's just simple. It's just a white boot. This is maybe my favorite The Thing design in live action too. I know that it's a little disappointing that we are never really going to go back to, makeup and prosthetics or an animatronic costume or anything. But if we're going to do a CGI only thing, I vastly prefer this to the 2015 version because he looks so much more personable. Like, yeah, he's got these wide eyes and he does have this kind of like ugly sort of look to his face, but then he looks so human and likable and approachable. He looks like someone you could just give a hug, and it would be like hugging a slab of concrete. But
yeah, I'm sorry to say I'm a motherfucking sucker. Once that first trailer came out and the first thing you hear and see is Ben and he was perfect, I was like, I'm sold. I don't need to see anything else. I got it. You got me.
I think it's even nice that they didn't give him like a growly.
No, he just sounds
voice.
Like a guy. He just sounds like a fucking
like him.
Yorker, man.
That makes him 100% more tragic because he just sounds like this guy and he looks like a big weird rock monster. But there's just that just really sells the human under there, is that he still sounds and has the cadence of just a normal nice guy.
Not bad at all.
No, I just aesthetically I love everything about this Fantastic Four, and that carries over to number 3.
You stand before Galactus. The Devourer of Worlds honors you.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, from a design standpoint, this is maybe the most perfect translation we've ever gotten of a Jack Kirby design to live action. This is 1-to-1. They didn't take any of the design details and try to change them drastically or make them look less silly. This is just, that's the suit, that's the one, and here he is in real life. The thing that strikes me most about this, I love the greebling and texturing on it. If you look at like an old Star Wars spaceship model, when you're talking about like a Star Destroyer or like the Death Star hull, this method is called greebling, is just taking random bits of piping and mechanical detail and just trying to add as much detail as possible so that up close it has all these different mechanical segments on it. It's not immediately clear to you, the viewer, but it looks like it has some kind of function. And then you pull back and then you don't even really see it anymore. The idea of greebling his whole costume like he's a giant starship to add scale is so brilliant to me. Galactus is a god. He's huge. He is a cosmic force. So making him feel like a Death Star with a person inside is just awesome. And the fact, on top of everything else, that this costume is practical is so mind-blowing. That he was actually wearing this. And they didn't have to CGI his whole body for everything. He's not just a big model. I love that they made this suit practically and then just shot it as a compositing plate instead of making him just a purely CGI character. This is everything I could want from a visual representation of Galactus outside of the comics. Like, this reminds me of like the cinematics from Marvel Ultimate Alliance when you see Galactus like moving over that blown out wasteland. Like, oh,
there was a shot in the movie that reminded me of that, and I was like, oh my god. That just blew me away when I forget where it was. I was like, that's that guy. That's literally him. Like, before obviously seeing him be revealed, like, I was like, yeah, that is just basically him. But once I saw that shot and just thought about that scene from Ultimate Alliance, I was like, oh man, that's crazy that they carried him over like that. My only complaint is that he doesn't have the cubes in his eyes.
Oh yeah, his weird square pupils on his black eyes. Those are a very interesting thing. Those look really good in that especially that post-credit scene for Ultimate Alliance. Those look really intimidating.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they went for that, but I think the glowing eyes that he has are still pretty good anyway, just because it shows that, like, oh, he's got the cosmic power in his body that's just like bursting to get out.
Especially in his ship, I think that's a really good, striking visual.
Oh yeah, because he just looks like a giant, like he looks like if Mount Rushmore was talking to you.
Yeah, you barely see him and it's just the
face. Like, that is immediately also so intimidating. That look too. That scene, like, he feels so impossible to fight that you're like, I don't even know what the fuck we're gonna do. Number 2.
As we enter, come look, we take upon the biggest adventure.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. This is a very strange microcosm of how the MCU has gotten so old now. Captain America Sam Wilson debuted in 2014 with that costume designed by Stuart Immonen, I believe it was, for that new, all different Cap. I think that costume was designed with being in the MCU already in mind. This translated just so perfectly because the design was already in that ballpark of aesthetic, so they really did not have to make hardly any changes at all. And so I was also sad again when immediately after this super fucking awesome costume, his next appearance after this, they take away the cowl because apparently it was very hard to wrangle on set. I think maybe it looked like it was a thick material from the pictures I saw of it when it was the actual on set one, the practical costume. I think if you had remade that same mask, just a different type of fabric, kind of refitted it, you could have made it work. And I really wish they had tried to figure it out instead of just abandoning it right away.
I mean, because that's a look we don't get a lot.
That is not a look we get very often. Like, we don't get, like, the comic book style, like, head sock kind of thing. Like, Cyclops, Gambit, Invincible, Sam Wilson, Kid Flash. Like, there's a lot of characters that have that kind of mask. And we don't see it very often in live action because it is, unfortunately, kind of hard to pull off, you know, with the ears sticking out and the jaw being completely exposed.
That's why I like his costume beforehand. That tried to do, in the concept art, there's him with, like, the same type of piece, but I'm assuming, already had trouble with it there. They decided to axe that with the red costume. But I still like that visor a lot more than the other ones that actually do just straight up look like sunglasses as opposed to some type of goggle or visor.
When it looked like they got it so right on this costume, it made me really excited, and I wish that they had devoted more R&D time to trying to make that work instead of it just becoming Captain America from the neck down, and then he's also just wearing sunglasses. Like, what? And then after that, he immediately puts on a suit that's just almost completely blue and then just throws away the whole aesthetic.
It's just a stealth suit, kind of.
With wings.
With wings and a helmet.
But no, I love this. Like, for his first debut, just, oh my god, that scene when he flies in through the window, throwing the shield, that was a big memorable moment for me. That was another thing, is that was one of the few times in MCU history that we didn't have like a big reveal like that leak. I didn't see any set photos of him wearing this suit like 6 months earlier, so I already had time to look at it.
How long?
So that also like added to the hype, is like it was a reveal. It wasn't just like, oh, I've already looked at this costume from set photos from like 15 different angles. Man, I wish he was wearing this in Doomsday, because I know that we're gonna have the scene of him and Steve hanging out and both being Captain America at the same time, just, you know, because that's like a cool visual symmetry moment. I think that would look cooler if he was wearing this while Steve was in his more traditional suit, because, you know, there's a contrast, as this one's primarily white while that one's primarily blue. Just something about the amount of white on the costume is just so striking and makes him look like he just really stands out from the background. I just love the color balance on this one. I think leaning way more into the white than the blue makes this one way more visually memorable and just striking to me.
They were leading up to him taking the shield. You know, they hinted in the game. It's this, oh, who's gonna take the mantle now that Steve's dead, and then him and Bucky dealing with the ramifications and such, and the talk of such. If I were to think anything though of like what they would do with the suit, I would have thought that they would have done what they did in Brave New World after this suit, then have some direct translation of it. Because like you said, that design just lent itself, because it was post Marvel Now, having synergy be a bigger element in superheroes looks. There's some carried over elements from Falcon, his shin guards in with Civil War, and any costume after that. It's still just that's just straight up that suit.
Number 1. Wow, this is the most Spider-Man has ever looked like Spider-Man in a Spider-Man thing ever. That's him in real life. That's that uncanny valley feeling when you're like looking at pictures of Christopher Reeve's Superman, or like photos of an Eves Brooks Spider-Man costume that are really grainy from the 80s, and the actor is doing a very good Spider-Man pose. Like Roger Rabbit just existing in the real world. Like that's the drawing, and it's in front of me. I remember back when we first had the Homecoming / Civil War suit, a lot of people were not happy about the black bands on the shoulders going down the abdomen. So there was a lot of edits, wishful thinking, hoping it would look kind of like this. But even then, when you did those edits on that, cutting the black parts off, there was still a weird gap in the webbing, because the webbing pattern was designed around those parts being here. So it is really nice to see this, and it is designed purely around just being the default Spider-Man costume. I mean, I love the mask of this. I love the colors, like the really shinier blue as opposed to a more matte red is a really cool look that we haven't really had before. If I were to change anything at all, I would just want the rounded logo on the back again, because it's cute. I really like that fan theory that the logo on the front is facing towards the people he's fighting, and so it looks more intimidating. The logo on the back is facing towards the people he's protecting, so he wants it to look a little bit more friendly. I just thought that was like an adorable way to interpret that. Like, the fact that he has two different logos is such a weird, unique thing. Like, every superhero has one icon to represent them, and Spider-Man has two for no reason. I just thought that was like a cool piece of asymmetry that makes his costume stand out a little bit more.
If anything with that back logo, I'd go with, if you want something more bold, because I've always loved the thicker legs on the back logo. I would have gone for something like Bagley with the Ultimate, as opposed to the Homecoming one.
I mean, I wanted the back logo to just be round, because like they usually just make it just a big, angry, sharp spider. Going back to like Toby's second logo.
And I love that first suit's logo for how like kind of fat it is, even if it is a modification of the front spider.
Yeah, like the first Toby suit had that, and then the next two abandoned that, and then Andrew Garfield's suits went for this thing where the bottom legs are like extremely long, almost going down and touching the bottom of the torso. For the last decade, it's really felt like every medium outside of comics has looked at this design and gone, okay, how can we do this differently and modernize it? And the thing that's bothered me about it is that they always do it the same way, which is just the sensational Spider-Man costume, but worse. Giant logos spread all the way across the torso, segmented red sections that serve no practical purpose. It's just random detailing. They do something weird to the boots every time, and then they completely remove the webs on his sleeves, which just makes the arms of the suit more boring to look at. It's not that I don't think you can interpret this costume differently, but they all do it in the same way, and it's just gotten so repetitive, and it's really nice to just have this, and it's so simple. Just, here's the John Romita Sr. drawings in real life. We've gotten to the point where actually doing something that resembles the comics has now become refreshing and different. And I'm happy that brand synergy is going to force Spider-Man to look normal for a few years again. Because when they add him to the video games, he's going to have to be wearing a regular costume for fucking once. But I am terrified of the day when they throw this costume out because they want to sell more merchandise with the next thing, and he's probably going to have a vest on again, or God knows what. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm just going to enjoy this costume while it lasts because it's everything I wanted, except for the back logo. Believe it or not, this list was actually way harder to come up with than the bad costumes list. When it comes to bad costumes, the MCU gives us no shortage. But with the good ones, it was more about finding enough that I had genuinely positive feelings about instead of thinking, it's good enough, I guess. But sometimes it takes more effort to look on the bright side instead of focusing on the bad. It's easy to dwell on the negative, but in a way, it's a lot more enjoyable to go that extra mile and find something nice to say. That being said, even though I'm obviously way more of a Marvel guy, I think a DC movie version of this list would be a lot easier. The quality of their movies is all over the place, but damn it if they aren't well dressed doing it. Special thanks to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring this video. Check it out at the links below or use my QR code to get a fresh start. Players can use the promo code SPIDEY to get Spider-Man, Hulk, and more rewards to build a stronger squad from day one. I always get mad at YouTube for not putting my videos in the subscription box because people will comment, "Finally, Xavier uploads again after all these years," not knowing 3 other videos came out within the last month already. So maybe that stupid bell icon thing will help you remember I exist. If you want other ways to support the channel, you can always go hit up that Patreon for early videos and exclusive stuff because it's just $1. I'm not kidding, it's only $1. Isn't that cool? If just 5% of the people subscribed to me donated only $1 a month, I could make videos even faster and keep my house. You can also check out our merch on TeePublic, or just buy some of my random stuff on eBay. I have a pretty substantial collection of old toys that are still in the box in perfect condition, so go take a look in case you find something you like. And lastly, since this is a YouTube video and you probably play Fortnite, drop my creator code XavierGM next time you buy a silly dance or a cool character skin. Really helps me out. See you next time!